Welcome to Transformations with Carly and Rick. Today, straight talk about life, business, and spirituality. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our show. This is Transformations with CNR. Doesn't that sound interesting, CNR? It is Monday, March 11th, and we're on a special day today, but that's okay. When you see the recording, you can see it at any time. And today we've got an interesting topic, and here is Carly Alyssa Thorne to talk about it. Hi, Carly.
Hello, how are you?
I am doing
I hope
great.
you had a fabulous weekend.
I did. It was a busy one.
And you're ready for a new, brilliant, productive week?
We're going to be on the road traveling, productively traveling.
That's wonderful. So that's going to tie into our topics. The topics we're having today, they're all interrelated, and that's why I decided to put them together. One of them is going to be our commitment to ourselves. What are we doing for ourselves? And our commitment to others. Are we actually honoring those commitments? And tying that all in together, because you can't do any of that with you are worthy, we are worthy. There's a great quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And it's so important. We don't need people's permission to feel a certain way, and yet we as a society allow others to make us feel a certain way. And then people get depressed and they don't think they're worthy. And the funny part is once you get into that place of unworthiness, it affects every aspect of your life.
Well, that's true. The minute self-doubt creeps in, then you start going, well, can I really do this? Can it happen? No, I can't do this. Yeah, and it's interesting. Look at how many, for example, let's take a singer. Let's take Donny Osmond. He has been singing since he was, 5 years old? And then when he got older, one day he couldn't get on stage anymore. He didn't trust himself. He felt total, complete fear of failure. It took him several years to get over that. Then he was back to being a good performer. But here's a person who did this forever, and then one day just developed a complete panic about being on stage. Total.
And I'm tying that back to people that are famous or stars. It is quite fascinating. I mean, an athlete, just one little self-seed. I mean, it's a seed. It's the tiniest little seed. And if you let that little seed get in there, there's going to creep up fear, I'm not good enough, anxiety. And it's quite fascinating when you see that happen to people that are absolutely amazing athletes or, like you said, singers or actors or actresses. And it takes one event that usually just catapults into a major not worthiness episode or even massive depression. Look how many stars have committed suicide or OD'd. It's really sad.
Yeah, and it's something that, like you said, can be just one small word, boom, and of course that leads to other issues that a lot of them don't. They work on characters; they don't work on themselves.
And indeed, that's actually really, really important because that's where we're going to start talking about our commitment to ourselves. What commitments do we make to ourselves in terms of, do we take time to take care of ourselves? Do we take time for me, an actual hour of self-pampering time? It could be going for a walk in nature. It could be going to have that spa time and getting your nails done or getting a massage. And big one, taking time to move your body. I don't care if it's 15 minutes a day. That's all that you have. If you do 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night, your body is not meant to be sitting in a chair all day long. Your body is meant to be moving and fluid. And when we sit, that's why we start getting all the joint pains and all these issues. And they've done studies on when people just sit all day long, they are more depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, and so are their seats.
Yes. It's fascinating though. I mean, I know when I've gone through my recovery with my knee, and prior to my knee surgery, I literally was in a chair for 3 months.
And for those who don't know, Carly had a full knee replacement, it takes a while to get back on that.
Yeah, and it was a last resort. We had attempted so many previous things, and it had been operated on before. And I've done, I do the chondroitin and glucosamine.
Mm-hmm.
I was massively working out before, and I mean, in the old days, I definitely overworked. And as I got older, I learned the balance of, doing yoga, doing Pilates, not just lifting weights. And yeah, it was mind-boggling to me. Who people know me as you know me. I'm very positive. I'm always upbeat. Doesn't matter what's going on. And I could actually feel how depressed I was getting.
Right.
I could actually feel, in a weird way, this kind of a little bit of darkness. Going, this is just not fun. And on so many levels, it was not fun.
Yeah, and it can happen. And it can happen to everybody at any time, no matter how upbeat you are, you're going to have a cycle. and having a knee replacement or any kind of surgery is not one of those fun things that you look forward to. Hey, I can't wait to have my knee surgery. Unless you're really in that much pain, then in which case the knee surgery may help. But you're right. That takes the energy out of you, if you will. And sometimes no matter how much you try, what you eat, or what kind of supplements you take, there's something that's broken in there, and you've just got to fix it. But you're making a good point. There you were getting depressed. You're a person who's really up, and yet it was starting to get to the point where that pain was nagging at you so much that it just starts bothering you.
Well, it's funny that you say what you said, that not being excited about knee surgery. I was seriously, people were like, why are you so excited? I'm like, you don't get it. I've been sitting in a chair for 3 months. If I'd go someplace,
right.
By the time I got home, my knee would be the size of a cantaloupe. I was jumping up and down for joy, going, yes, surgery.
Finally get rid of this.
Again.
Yep.
So, and the funny part was, yes, it was excruciatingly painful. And I knew that I was going to have to go through that excruciating time. And now I'm at the other side of the tunnel. And yesterday I went for my first walk outdoors. I mean, I'm going to physical therapy and all that. However, it was my first adventure by myself, going outside like I used to, walking every single day, being with nature. And it was mind-blowing. And I'm going, wow, I've missed this so much. I've missed so much to just walk with nature, take pictures of the flowers, be with the trees. I mean, seriously, I was just like, and I texted that out. I was like, my first outdoor adventure, it was so wonderful. And so I do want to get back to that commitment. Now this is my job right now. I have to be committed to myself that every single day I go outside and I take that walk. And each day adding a minute to that, and another minute to that, and then another minute to that. And that's a daily commitment to myself to get healthier, to lose the weight that I did gain from being sedentary for 3 months. I'm not used to, and that's the other reason why I got depressed. I'm not used to having that little bit of extra weight. I'm used to being, the athlete. I'm used to being massively fit. And I had to love myself anyway. I had to accept myself anyway and know that even though I was depressed, wasn't feeling beautiful, wasn't feeling all these things, that I am still worthy. And yes, I still am beautiful, regardless if I have those few extra pounds, or if I am, I do have a scar on my knee now, or, you know what I'm saying? Just really knowing that I still am worthy, I am still lovable, and having that commitment to myself to do things that I need to do to be in that state, and know and actually feel that on a visceral level, really feel it inside of myself, even when I have those seeds of doubt that come in. And I just posted on my wall yesterday, it says like, tell the negativity commitment to shut up or be quiet.
Yep.
It's like, and when those little things are going on in my head saying, oh, I'm in pain today. And when I got back from my walk yesterday, I was in pain. And I'm going, okay. He said, if you feel too much pain, take it down. Don't walk as far.
Yeah.
And, my first walk, I really wanted to walk, and I felt it. And it's like, okay. And just being with that, and my body telling me, okay, I know you want to get out there. I know you want to walk and walk further. Now you need to honor your body and know that it really can't go that far yet, and be okay with that. And that's a challenge when you're someone that's very driven and very passionate. You just want to get out there and run.
Yeah, I remember same thing happened to me. I had a torn meniscus, had knee surgery, and they said, you'll be up and running in a week. That was a lie. It took about a month. I was doing almost everything walk-wise in about a week and a half, and I was still very inflamed. Every time I did that, my knee would get more inflamed, and I said, that's fine. So after about a month, I was getting back to normal. I was actually able to work out after about 2 months. It took me literally 2 months to put a lot of pressure on the knee again, and then it was fine. But I tell you, like you said, you give yourself some time. you push it just a little bit more every day. Because if you don't, you won't go past that. And, one of the things about commitment is creating a habit. If you don't create the habit of committing, whether it's to exercise, to work, to learning, whatever you're committing to, create that habit. And it takes somewhere close to 3 months to really create a habit, because it's so darn easy to say, I had a bad day today, I think I'll just go to bed. Well, no, go practice, do something, walk around the block, pet a dog, do something. I mean, just get out of just sitting around and saying, I had a bad day or I had a tiring day, because every day can be tiring. What do you do about it? You don't just sit there. If you sit there, then it's going to get more tiring. And by the time you're done, you're dead. So it's just not worth taking your health out that much to just procrastinate. And especially with your body. We live in a society that people either overwork out and then hurt themselves and then don't work out at all, or they don't work out at all and then get some of the ill effects of not working out. But definitely give yourself a habit of doing something physical, maybe morning, maybe afternoon, maybe night. If you go to work, hey, take a walk around the block. When you go to lunch, don't just sit there and eat. Go for a walk. That's the best thing you can do. And the same after work. Now, mind you, we live in Los Angeles. We're very close to Los Angeles. There are many stupid people who decide to run at 5 o'clock when all the cars are out. That's not smart. If you want to get in shape, do it when you don't have all the fumes from cars. If you're trying to commit suicide, that's a very slow way to do it. So,
I agree. And unfortunately, I guess some people, it's like, this is the time I'm going to do it. And that's the thing, too, is we need to learn to be more flexible in life. And let's say you don't have that half an hour. They've actually done studies splitting it into 2 15 minutes is better than doing nothing. And as you said, it is that 90-day window of making a commitment to self on whatever it is. And it's very easy to say, I'm hurting today, so I'm not going to go. I'm tired today, so I'm not going to go. Oh, it's too late. Now I can't go. You need to make the commitment to yourself, and you also have to be flexible. There may be, like you said, 5 o'clock. You don't want to be inhaling the exhaust fumes from cars. So maybe it means you're going to do it before you go to work. Maybe it means you're going to do it at lunch hour. Maybe it's going to mean that you're going to adjust it to 5:30 or 6 instead of 5. Now, I know a lot of people, it's like the minute they get off work, they want to do it because they feel if they don't do it, then they won't do it all. So you just have to really start getting flexible and seeing what's really going to work for you in a safe environment that's going to benefit you, not hurt you. And it is. I mean, I have a whole article on me having been, completely ripped out to having gained weight and going back and forth and all those wonderful things. And I did. I pushed my body really, really hard. And I did get a certification for personal training and all that. And as I was evolving, you do learn the balance. You have to learn the balance of literally not causing more injury, still being fit, and you can still have a very high level of fitness and not hurt yourself. It's all in learning. You have to learn the tools. It's everything is like a dance. If you don't know the elements to the dance, you're not going to be able to perform the dance.
Right. And now Carly and I have both been a little bit crazy because she has worked out. She was a bodybuilder. She's done a lot of different sports. And probably, I'd say, to an extreme at times, correct?
Yes, a massive extreme.
Yeah. I was the same way. When I was younger, I worked out 7-8 hours a day. I did martial arts. I did weights. I did everything. 7-8 hours a day, every day. 7 days a week. Sometimes 6, if I really slacked off. And I look back on it now, and I wish I hadn't, because it was extreme. It was probably more. And as you get older, you pay for those small injuries you get that become larger injuries, because you're overdoing it. Now, mind you, at the time, it's fun. You're really trying to surpass what you can do. It's not about just doing it. It's about doing it as well as you can and better.
So now I'm going to tie that to something you said that's really critical. When we're younger, now, a lot of people say we need no ego. Ego is bad. Now, what I'm going to tie this back to is when we were younger and we needed that drive to be the best in our dojo, in our martial arts studio. Mm-hmm. We needed to be the best bodybuilder. We needed to be the best athlete or whatever that is. That is a touch of ego. However, any successful leader, anybody, you have to have some element of ego.
Sure.
Ego is not this big, bad monster that people have portrayed it to be. When they say, kill the ego, kill the ego, kill the ego.
Well, no,
I mean, again, balance.
Yeah, and a lot of times ego is misinterpreted as arrogance.
Yes.
There are arrogant jerks out there. That's different. Yeah, they have ego too, and it's probably overblown, but that's arrogance. Ego is essential to our surviving. Without ego, you don't survive. You just pretty much sit in a hole and die. I mean, there's nothing to drive you at all. So you need a little bit of ego, and not to be arrogant, but to be better.
Well, and that's the thing, the distinguishing, and here's the thing, like anything, are you using arrogance to hurt, to harm?
Right.
In other words, your ego, or, some people equate arrogance with ego. I really don't.
I don't either.
It's separating the two, and how are you using your ego? If you're doing something to hurt others or, twist things, manipulate, that's a very different thing than just being a strong person, a leader, someone that people look up to because you do have that strength. There really are two different things.
Yeah. For example, in the martial arts, they say you are your worst enemy. Not your ego, your essence, the way you are, the filters that you've created that stop you from seeing reality as it really is. That's your worst enemy. It's not you, your ego, or anything like that. It really is your filters, the things that keep you asleep, if you will, that keep you not seeing reality as it is because you're too busy either fooling yourself or not wanting to see it.
The other thing I want to touch on when we were talking about commitments is the reason why commitment to self, and I'm going to get to commitment to other people in a minute, the reason why commitment to ourselves is so important. If we don't take care of ourselves, we are no good to anybody. I'll go back to a mother. A mother may have children, may have a husband, and some of them even have a job. If they're not taking some time to take care of themselves, they're not going to be able to be there for the children. They're not going to be able to be there for their husband, no different than their job. You have to take that time to take care of yourself in whichever way that is for you. It is. So that commitment to yourself is really important. Now I want to jump over to commitment to others. We overcommit. We say yes to everything.
Right.
And when we do that, then we're doing 0% to one commitment, maybe 100% to another commitment because it's something that we really, really, it's a client or a friendship or something that we massively value. And obviously there's only 100%. And so that part of our society too is that since we do overcommit, we wind up doing a crappy job, if you will, on most of those commitments, and maybe a better commitment, a job on another commitment. And so, as we've talked, me and you've talked about this so much, to the point of almost, too much. The black and white principle, the yes, no, right, left, up, down, it's this way or the highway. We as a society need to find balance, because without that balance, that's how all this stuff just starts to unramble and go crazy. And we start overcommitting, and then everything just starts falling apart, because then we start to get resentful. We start to get angry that we are overcommitted. And we've created it. We've created the overcommitment. We're afraid to say no.
Right.
We're afraid to hurt people's feelings. And we have to get masterful in learning the art of saying no. And being honest about it. When you're saying no, how are you saying no? Are you being subservient? Are you being arrogant about your no? Are you being mean? Just be honest as to why you're saying the no. I'm so sorry. I really am overcommitted at this time. I really don't. I want to be of service to you. I want to offer the best of me. And I can't do that right now because I have X, Y, and Z going on. Be honest about your no. Just don't do the sneaky no, lie. So, I'm not coming because I have a wedding. Someone died. All these, the dog ate the homework. Be honest about your no.
And your homework.
I love that when kids would the dog ate my homework. Oh, it's all ripped up.
I did that when I remember once in elementary school I did that. I go, my dog ate my homework. And the teacher said, what kind of dog do you have? And I had to think for a moment. I have a German Shepherd. And he goes, do you? Yeah. What color? So I was quick, but it was like, he's brown and tan. Okay. He goes,
what's his name?
What's his name? But now I'm starting to go, name, Ivan. You have a German Shepherd who's a black and tan named Ivan. Right. How much does he weigh? 50 pounds. 50. He's a very small shepherd, right? Yeah. By the time we were done, I think my parents had been called, and there was no shepherd, and I got in big trouble, and I went, damn that dog. But I mean, no, seriously, I mean, that's a typical kid thing. And
it is.
And imagine if we did that to adults. And by the way, I have done that to adults every so often where I'll question them because you know you're being lied to. And when you're being lied to, you just go, oh, come on. You know,
really?
I mean, at this age, really, is that how you have to deal with stuff? And you just do a couple questions here and there, and you could feel the sweat coming through the other side of the phone. and you just go, come on, don't do that. Just don't do that. It's a bad precedent.
Now, the other thing I want to tie to this is there's another vital piece about commitment. Let's say you do make a commitment to somebody and something happens and you can't. Here's the thing. Yes, our word is law, and if we make a commitment, we definitely should honor the commitment. However, sometimes life happens, traffic, an accident, whatever it is. Make the phone call. With all the technologies we have, make the phone call and say, no, I honor your time. I value you as a friend or a client or whatever the situation is, and say, what would be a good time for me to be able to, honor the commitment? What would be a good time and day to do this? And this is a situation that's going on right now. I am in this car accident, I am stuck in traffic, or whatever it is. Even you may have been a responsible person of taking hours ahead of time. I always give myself a lot of time. I am somebody that does not like being late. It's just something that really irks me. So I always give myself a massive amount of time. However, life does happen, and sometimes it does get in the way of our commitments. Again, be honest. Don't shrink away from it. You don't want to be known as someone who does not honor your commitments. Make the phone call. And don't just send an email. You may, do the text if it's, you're in traffic, whatever, and you're in a stop and it's safe, and you do the text, I'm stuck in traffic, or hopefully you have Bluetooth and you can make the phone call.
If nothing else, pull over for a moment.
Exactly. But find a way to honor your commitments, however that is to you. And it could be, and the reason why I say don't just send an email is, first of all, when we send emails, it does not have the emotion. It does not have the context. So someone may see a line and go, oh, wow, I can't, there's no context when you're doing an email. It's just words that are in black usually, okay? So yes, you can send an email and say you're immediately call. I'd reverse it. I always would say make the phone call first, and then you can follow through with an email after about times or changes, however you want to do it. I just really find that emails can be very damaging. I've seen more fights happen in emails because people took what was said completely in the wrong context. And I always say to people, this is what's going on. However, I'd really like to have the phone calls. And I just find the phone calls are so much easier to get through things. Really have a conversation where people can feel each other's emotions so they know, like you said, am I being lied to? You can tell when someone's really messing with you on the phone. You can hear it in their voice.
You can. I mean, that goes back to the simple thing that when you smile on the phone, people know it. They can feel it. They can really feel it. It's hard not to feel it. But if somebody's just on the phone and you can tell they're being evasive, or my favorite is they come on aggressively. We have one person who always says, you called me a liar. I never called you a liar. It's like, and that's
the pit bull approach.
And that's usually somebody who's lying. It's like, no, I didn't call you a liar. And that happens a lot. It's just one of those things you go, okay, fine. It's perceptions. But again, like you said, the commitment to yourself and the commitment to others, be congruent. Make sure that you honor your commitments. Don't overcommit. It's better to overcommit and overdeliver than to overcommit and underdeliver.
Exactly.
Because once you underdeliver, then people are going to go, oh, okay, you're one of those. And you may underdeliver once. They're going to remember that many.
Well, you know the story of me doing my interview in the hospital, right? It took me 3 months to get on a pay it forward interview. And so when I didn't know my date of my surgery yet, when I told her I would do the interview, and literally, like I said, she has a waiting list from 3 to 6 months. And one day she called me and said, hey, I have a cancellation. I'd really like you to take the slot. I'm like, okay. So I have January 7th, I had my surgery and I'm in the hospital. And I had a commitment to do a radio interview on January 17th. And I literally did honor that commitment. I got in my wheelchair. I wheeled myself out to the courtyard where there wasn't, bells and alarms and all this stuff going off. And I did the radio interview. Mind you, I was in massive pain. Mind you, I was even on painkillers. Yet I knew that if I canceled that interview, it was going to take me 3 to 6 months to get another one. And I had a choice in that moment. And for the most part, most people that know me, if I say I'm going to do something, I do. If I haven't done it, there's definitely a reason, and I do make the phone call or I do follow through. And I have my list of things that are very massively important to me. And those I will definitely make sure that everything's done the way it's supposed to be done. So most people that know me know that I've made a commitment, that I honor my commitments. And it's like you said, it's when you start not following through, and people start saying, oh, I don't want to deal with that person because they're a slacker. I know if I talk to this person, for example, I've dealt with lots of different editors and camera people and everything. And there's definitely some editors or some camera people I will choose over others because I know if I use this one person, it's going to get done. And it's going to get done in a timely manner.
Sure.
If I use other ones, I know I'm going to be waiting weeks and weeks and weeks. So it's like, people can tell by your behavior, the way you are. And even I can tell from people's Facebook pages what type of people they are, by their Twitters, and social media is becoming more and more prevalent that you can actually tell what type of person people are by what they're posting, what they're ranting or not ranting about, what their pages look like. It's really fascinating to me to see how the commitment and the overcommitment and what type of person somebody is, that you can actually see it in so many levels now.
Yeah, that's true. And there's a pattern. You see the pattern very quickly.
Absolutely. And that's why it's like we've talked about being authentic and showing up as you are across all platforms, radio, TV, in person, on stage, off stage, on your social media, off your social media. It's because it's really, I've had someone actually tell me this story where she went to see, she really looked up to this guy. I mean, massively looked up, and I'm not going to mention the speaker's name, but she massively looked up to the speaker. He's a famous speaker. And she went to see him live, and she was all excited because, he was positive on stage and, just great on stage. Well, then she started going to read some of the person's blogs. And she's like, I hate him now because all this person does is rant. Right. Now, some people rant to get a reaction. They feel if they rant, the reaction is going to get a better response, if you will. And from their perspective, ranting might be authenticity. They're being absolutely authentic by saying, this, that, or the other. And for her, it was massively offensive because on stage, she was this one persona, and on his blogs, it's a completely different persona. Versus I know another speaker who is very much in your face and tells you exactly the way it is. But the funny part is he's that same way on stage or off stage. And I don't take it offensively because he also brings humor to it.
Right.
So he may be in your face, but that's his same persona across all platforms. It's not like this way here and that way there. And
if you're that speaker, you know who you are.
Yeah.
And 100 others are going, is it me? Is it me?
No. No, actually, the second speaker I was talking about is Larry Winget. Larry Winget is Larry and WINGET.com. He is massively amazing. He is he's actually called the pit bull of self-development.
I actually like him a lot.
Oh, I love him. And he does. He'll say to you on live, he'll be telling someone, you're fat because you want to be. You're broke because you want to be. Your children are your own damn fault. Yeah. And he's coming from true principalities. And so... yeah, some people, it's like either you love Larry or you hate Larry, or you get Larry. You get that he is doing it for an impact. You get that he's really attempting to, as he says in one of his speeches, some people need to fall flat on their face to learn. And that's the way he learns. He needs to feel massive pain to get the lesson. Now, for some people, they're like, why am I here? I didn't come here to be abused. This is just abusive. Not everybody learns the same way.
Right,
some people do need the hard knocks learning.
Yeah, he's kind of like a martial arts instructor, which makes him fun and interesting. And I like him. I like his message, and I like the clarity with which he says it.
Right, I agree.
He doesn't mince words at all. He's like a drill sergeant.
Yep, I love him.
And that's okay. So, and guess what, Carly?
And I won't be mentioning the other speaker because that would be just massively disrespectful. But I'm attempting to say, as Larry does, and again, some people either love him or hate him because of his style. The difference with him, though, is he's the same way across all platforms versus the other speaker I'm talking about,
and you know what,
on stage, one persona, off stage, completely different.
And you've got to love that. You've got to love people that are the same way everywhere.
Oh, massively authentic. It's just amazing. And you have the comparison to other speakers who, are awesome across all stages, like as you both and I know, Bob Berg. And he's like that in person. He's like that.
He's genuinely
on his
a nice
blog posts.
He's a nice person.
Exactly.
Who's done what he talks about.
Oh, and the thing is, if you've seen him, if you watched on video, he's the same as if he is on stage, or if you have him in a personal, just a friendly conversation. And the funny part is, even in messaging or on his pages, or he is the same across all platforms.
Yeah.
There's lots of speakers that are authentic across all platforms, and unfortunately, there's also a lot of speakers that aren't. And that's just life. It is what it is, and we can't. It just is what it is.
Yep. Well, we are at the end of our commitment for today. And now your commitment is to listen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come back and report what you've
one.
learned. Yes, come back and report what you've learned, and you'll be graded. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I am going to be heading off to the airport, leaving on a jet plane soon. Carly, you have a great week.
You too, and I look forward to our next week conversation.
It'll be great. And for all of you in the chat room, and which we've actually ignored, so I'm sorry if you have been in the chat room. I never turned around and looked at it. Just got too committed to the conversation here. And if you're watching the recordings, please subscribe. Tell us what you think. Send us any kind of feedback. We appreciate it. Have a good one, everyone. Take care. Bye, Carly.
Have a great week.
And we'll see you guys next week.